Cyno. Unless my memory fails me, we have barely spoken 2 words to each other before now at the Academia. Would you care to enlighten me as to when and how I invited the General Mahamatra's wrath?
Al-Haitham, do not think you can escape my judgment just because you managed to escape my attack.
Judgment? So that's how you'd characterize your actions here, is it? Or would elimination perhaps be a more accurate description?
Had I used my full strength, not even this traveler would have been able to stop me. Though styled like an assassination, I sought only to ensure that my target would be unable to flee or resist. Standard practice for the Matra as well.
Seemed to me more like your own personal touch.
Who is that, Al-Haitham? Did you call him General Mahamatra?
Yes. General Mahamatra Cyno, head of all the Matra at the Academia. He's a formidable hunter, and the ultimate nightmare for any who have committed academic crimes.
You seem to have placed a lot of trust in Al-Haitham, to the point of blocking an attack for him. If I were you, I'd never choose to side with him. I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. I have been pursuing this scribe for a long time. I urge you, stand back and do not seek to defend him any longer.
Has Al-Haitham done something wrong? Hyman doesn't think he's as bad as you've made him out to be.
I won't waste my breath explaining things. Al-Haitham, I saw it during our fight. Take it out. The divine knowledge capsule you're hiding on your person. Unless you want me to retrieve it for myself.
Very perceptive of you. Nothing escapes a Matra's senses.
Wait, the divine knowledge capsule? Didn't it fall into the Matra's hands in Port Ormos?
No wonder you speak with such confidence, Cyno. But I must admit, I'm very curious. What does this capsule mean to you? And why, as General Mahamatra of the Academia, are you all alone in the desert? As far as I'm aware, the other Matra have been speculating about your disappearance. Have you been given a mission that's, let's say, morally dubious? If I was the real target of your mission, what was stopping you from simply using your authority and resources to judge me within the walls of the Academia?
I should have known you'd be difficult to deal with.
You two? Ugh! What you would do, Traveler? Paimon feels like we can't trust either of them!
Ahem. Well, look at you two, acting all tough and self-righteous over there.
Wait, Dehya? Great! Finally, someone that we can trust! You gotta help us out here, otherwise these two are gonna start fighting again!
Yeah, sure looks that way. 2 giants from the Academia duking it out once and for all. Not something you get to see every day, that's for... Listen, I know you academic types love to fill up your big brains with self-righteous morality and lord your empty rules and virtues over each other. But how dare you bring your petty disputes into the safe haven of Aru Village? It seems like someone's gonna have to beat some sense into your thick skulls until you finally learn to respect these grounds. Hey, did either of you hear a word I just said?
Whoa, what's going on? The wind's so strong! Is this a sandstorm? Paimon's gonna get blown away!
Another sandstorm? What's up with these recently?
Hey! All of you, over here, quickly! We have to take cover!
Someone's calling for us! Oh, this wind is too strong!
That sounded like Candace. Come on, you two. Jeez, are all of you Academia folks such hard work? Move!
All right, stop.
Well, this is pretty awkward. Hey, Wanna play sardines with 3 people who wanna tear each other limb from limb? Sure, why not? Sounds fun. The air is so thick and heavy. Paimon can hardly keep floating anymore.
My sincere apologies, everyone. This is the home of our village chief. I will have to ask you to make do with this small room until the sandstorm dies down. Please, let me introduce myself. I am Candace, protector of Aru village.
Our savior has come at last! Nice to meet you, Candace. The name's Paimon. Thank you so much for helping us.
There's no need to thank me. It's only right to help each other when the weather gets rough.
I have nothing to hide, so there's no shame in explaining myself. While Al-Haitham wasn't wrong about the other Matra not knowing my whereabouts, it's not because I've been assigned a morally dubious mission. Rather, I've chosen to exile myself.
Huh? Exile your...
A little while ago, I discovered that there was data missing in the Academia's project planning and development files. What little they did report clearly did not match the project's actual progress. As General Mahamatra, I had the responsibility and authority to request an audit. However, to my surprise, the person responsible for the erroneous data was none other than Grand Sage Azar himself. I tried to investigate the issue myself before submitting a formal audit request, but I soon found that all leads and potential pieces of incriminating evidence were carefully concealed from me. I began to realize that they were cautious of me from the very beginning. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Sage rejected my audit request as soon as the submission reached his desk. The power of the General Mahamatra is granted by the sages. You have no right to judge us.
So they really are up to no good.
I realized then that to the Grand Sage, the Matra are nothing more than tools for the sages. The vows that we took, the principles that we strive to uphold, they are meaningless to the academia of today. I believed it would be wise to flee the academia before the sages had a chance to take action against me. I will never give up on this investigation. There's no need for someone else to give me power or authority.
Cyno seems to have the same goal as us. We're all investigating the sages. Plus, now that he's no longer the General Mahamatra, he somehow feels a lot less scary. Well, Cyno, if that's your story, then why did you see Al-Haitham as a target?
When I was investigating the matter in the academia, I overheard a conversation between Al-Haitham and a sage. The sages asked you to investigate a blonde-haired traveler. Do you dispute this, Al-Haitham?
What?
Like many parts of the project, this assignment was undocumented. Now throw in your suspicious behavior with the Divine Knowledge Capsule, and I think we deserve an explanation.
Yes. I was indeed tasked with investigating the traveler.
Al-Haitham!
After all, the promised reward was so great that hardly any scholar could have refused. The sage told me, once you've completed this assignment, I can give you a glimpse of divine knowledge.
A most enticing offer.
Unfortunately, those academics don't know me at all. Their words contained one key piece of information, namely that divine knowledge indeed exists. That gave me all I needed to know. From my perspective, the sages are far from trustworthy. Think about it. Isn't it a little strange they're so willing to share divine knowledge with anyone, even as a reward? So, I began my own investigation following the lead of the Divine Knowledge Capsule. In the end, I realized my wisdom in committing to this rather than collaborating with the sages. Had I been less guarded, I probably would have ended up like that Ain al-Ahmar mercenary, incapable of remaining sane for long enough to hold a conversation.
You mean that the sages originally planned to dispose of you, using one of those capsules that drive people insane?
I'd already given up on the assignment by then. I only told the Academia I was waiting in Port Ormos for you to appear so they wouldn't suspect anything. So it came as quite a surprise when I encountered my erstwhile target while investigating the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
Criminals do love to talk about coincidences.
Even though I ran into the Traveler by chance, I had no intention of providing assistance to the Academia. Also, you were the ones who decided to follow me and strike up a conversation after I left that tavern.
That's true. Al-Haitham helped us out at Caravan Rebat as well. Maybe he's telling the truth.
I'm willing to apologize if that's worth anything to you. I took the Divine Knowledge Capsule behind your back because I judged its existence to be a significant risk. I felt that it would be best for no one to interact with it before it had been properly studied. After all, curiosity often proves to be the most dangerous thing in this land.
You should be well aware, Scribe Al-Haitham, that curiosity can also lead you to danger and suspicion. Answer me this. Did the sages share any information about their project with you?
Have I not made myself clear? You and I are both distrusted by the Academia.
Fine. Although you haven't completely proven your innocence, I won't regard you as an enemy.
As you wish.
Good. I'm glad to see you two clearing up your misunderstandings.
Ooh, Candace, you're still fighting? You've been out here dealing with these creatures the entire time?
Yes. They just keep coming in waves. I've lost count of how many I've defeated. Before I realized it, even the sandstorm had stopped.
The creatures stopped appearing. Was that the last of them?
What we fought just now was probably the aftermath of the sandstorm. So we should be safe for the time being.
Grandpa? Oh, he likes to be alone. Sometimes he stares at the sky in a daze, and other times he just pokes at the ground with his fingers. Every now and then, he yells out at the top of his lungs, so a lot of people are really scared of him. But he's a good person, really. I know he is. I swear, he's just like my real grandpa. This is where Grandpa usually stays.
There sure isn't much here.
No.
Incense? Please don't say it's the same one as before. But are you okay? Are you getting dizzy or need to lie down?
There's a scent that you can sense, but I can't.
A certain traveler here once passed out from that smell. Thankfully, Tighnari saved the day. And then he gave us a long lecture to explain all about how it worked.
So, you know Tighnari?
Huh? You know him too? Are you two friends?
Yes. Now that I concentrate, I can also make out the scent of incense.
Wait, surely Tighnari didn't lecture you too?
No. No need. Did you first encounter this scent at Tighnari's house? In the forest. From a scholar.
Well, here we are again.
Sounds like you're starting to get familiar with the area.
Paimon's amazed every time we see the wall of Samiel. How can a wall this tall even exist?
I know what you mean. I had the same question every time I walked this way when I was a kid. Also, why is this high wall here? And can a wall really block sandstorms? It was only after I grew up that I realized the wall of Samiel isn't just there to keep out the sandstorms. It serves a more important purpose. Sumeru is run by wise and mighty sages. To them, us desert dwellers are nothing but tools that can be used and discarded at their whim. Are we there yet?
Yep.
This place is practically deserted. What are they doing in a place like this?
Why don't you take a guess? Go on. A wild stab in the dark.
What's this all about, Zaki?
Come on, Dehya. You really think we didn't hear about what you said back in Aru village? The boys have kept a close eye on you from the moment you set foot there. Not only do I know that you're looking for Delavar, I also know that you've teamed up with people from the academia to look for the missing scholars.
So, you've been watching us from the very beginning?
Impossible! How could you?
So, what do you think about your meticulous network now, Zaki? How did you say it? It's only natural for a traveling mercenary like me to be out of the loop. I'm guessing your informant told you that I'm just an incompetent merc with no real fighting skills, correct? I mean, that is what I said after all. And of course you would believe everything he reported. The only thing you know about me is that I'm a mercenary. But even though you heard we went to handle monsters together, you believed that Candace was the only one doing all the real fight. That so-called flame main is just a fraud. She admitted it herself. She just uses her connections to gain the trust of others. That's what you thought, right?
Ugh. You lied in the village because you figured that we'd have people watching you.
And you were stupid enough to fall for it. I figured as much the first time we drank together. You all thought you were so smart. Pathetic. Okay, that should be all of them.
Whoa! So you've been planning this since we were in Aru village?
No task can be done without preparation. I just happened to notice a couple suspicious-looking people while you were out investigating.
Oh, but instead of catching them right away, you let them report back.
Those two who were snooping around were just a couple small fries. If we want to get the real...
Oh, you mean the funny name she mentioned back in Uncle Ampu's house? The wide-eyed butcher, scar-riddled band...
That's just a bunch of drunk talk. Edgar and Delavar like to talk themselves up when they're drinking. Edgar, the wide-eyed butcher, and Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit.
Candace, where... Whoa, you look furious.
Do I? Huh. What gave it away?
Oh, there's no mask that can hide true bloodlust. Cover up your eyes, and it'll still show itself at the corners of your mouth.
Perhaps I need to work on my composure. Still, it's perfectly understandable why I'm angry. I'm sure everyone present would agree.
Yes. Please, don't beat us anymore. We're gonna die.
Well, looks like Cyno taught her well.
You fear death yourselves, yet you do not hesitate to place the lives of others at risk. The absurdity is mind-boggling. The ones you call mad scholars are known to us as the Village Keepers. They are vital members of our community, and some even count them as family.
Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages, and now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Where have you been anyway? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname! Never mind! Paimon's got nothing.
Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace,
Those eyes. Those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
it's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Cyno's authority and strength.
Right. you were asking about the the mad scholars.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are Scarlet King fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals' next target.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past. If it weren't for them, my house would have collapsed long ago.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then why would she lie?
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this, maybe you should ask her. Miss Shani, as we discussed earlier, I've brought someone with me.
Mr. Al-Haitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that your friends think the same as you?
Huh? What do you mean? We need to clarify our stance or something?
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll get the answers you want. Go on. Earn her trust.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler? Hi, Traveler. I want to ask you something. Do you think the resurrection of the Scarlet King can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservations. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something like this. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of any one nation. But even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed in. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's why we decided to stay here for a while.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back for more information.
Al-Haitham told us you have your reasons. It's okay. We understand.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in the Scarlet King. I don't belong to either side.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I say or how I behave. I'll always be suspected of having ulterior motives. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to live my life in peace. And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about it to anyone. Until now.
You can tell them. I'm sure she'll keep your secret.
All right. I'll tell you what I told all. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It comes from far away in the distance. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And when it does, it's much quieter. I have to focus really hard to make it out.
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But because we're in the middle of a desert, You would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.